Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Standing waters stagnate and not only they emit a foul smell, but they are also responsible for a lot of diseases and maladies. Same is true of institutions. The institutions need to change and to consider a document sacrosanct is in fact destroying the sanctity of the document. The Constitution of India is supposed to be the largest constitution in the world, the longest written constitution. But imagine, has it kept pace with the needs of the time, the shifting loyalties, the changing geopolitical situation around the world? No, it hasn't. Although it has been amended time out of number as compared to the US Constitution, which is supposed to be rigid. Yet the Constitution is not living up to the expectations of the people. I fully agree that the writers of the Constitution were dedicated people led by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And when it was written, it was indeed an excellent document. But as a document, it even today remains excellent. The only thing is, it's lost its utility. If you remember as a kid, you must have read Tennyson's poem Ulysses, and there is written, old orders changing, yielding place to new, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. And that's what's happening. The good custom that was there was changed. First time by Mrs. Gandhi when she added the word secular and socialist. It was a secular already. And then, if you look at the preamble of the Constitution, it is we, the people of India. It's not imposed. People of India have written it, and people, if they have written one document, can rewrite the document. You make your will. You're not satisfied with the beneficiary's conduct. You change the will. Now, will is sacrosanct as a matter of fact. If you expire, it will be a document by which the court will distribute the assets. It is sacrosanct. So is constitution. But if the people want, they can change it. And don't the people want the biggest flaws in the constitution? Let's come to that. It is supposed to be a federal government. And some people who love the word say it's a quasi-federal. No, quasi-federal is like a bat, neither a bird nor an animal. Either you are federal or you are unitary. Now here you say you are federal, but irrespective of the political affiliation, the prime ministers have empathy towards being central. And that's a need for relations, diplomacy. And now, in a multicultural country, in a multi religion country, in a multinationality country, in a multi language country, where though the basic fabric is the same, there's a lot of confusion. So the unitary form is the only force that can maintain the country together. Even otherwise, the institution of the governors recommended in the constitution shows that the governors, being the agents of the federal government, would destroy the federal structure. And the result is what we have seen, that the state and the center work at cross purposes. And who suffers? The people. The government makes one law, the federal government, and it's written in the constitution, and everybody accepts it. That in case of a doubt or a conflict between the state law and the central law would prevail. But here the central law was made, and only to show its contempt for the central law, at least several states either passed their own laws or passed resolutions condemning the law. Now, the law was wrong. I'm referring to the agriculture law. The way was to go to the Supreme Court. That didn't happen. And what happened was something different. Anyway, I just today published that any country or any group of people or any people or even an individual, if you want to face the real challenges, then you have got to reason. You have got to socially, culturally, and institutionally reason. And let's not forget, every country is evolving socially and culturally, and the original institutional structure is in constant flux. And then in India, there's another issue. All the parties are centrist by the constitution, and they very rarely hold elections to the party. Tickets for the election to legislature are awarded by the party oligarch. Chief ministers are not elected, they are appointed at the whim of the federal government. So, this constitution is undermined by the political parties, which are supposed to protect and they swear by it. But swearing by, in fact, turns out to be swearing at. So everybody swears by the Constitution and nobody acts according to the Constitution. And if nobody acts according to the Constitution, why have it at all? Why have the facade of having a Constitution which is not working? Now, what's required in the new Constitution? As a matter of fact, the whole Constitution need not be that long. Let's be very clear. A 40-page document is enough because that will give a leeway to the Supreme Court to interpret the articles in the light of the changed situation. Even now, see what happened. The appointment of the Supreme Court judges. The Constitution says they shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. And then the Supreme Court said, no, we will appoint the judges ourselves. And the government agreed because they were cowardly and could not take a stand. The Constitution was violated. And everybody keeps quiet. The Constitution says that education is a state subject. And the federal government comes up with an educational policy. Great. And the policy is great, let me tell you. So why have the facade of saying that these are the state subjects and these are the federal government subjects? Now, what really should be a real panchayati raj? And how can that be? I'm talking of the basic structure of what should be there. Let the country be declared in the new constitution a unitary country, divided into 5 zones for the purpose of administration: North India, South India, West India, Central India, East India. This will do away with parochialism and that state loyalty. People will not be able to swear by the states. but they'll be calling themselves India. And then the state legislature should be discussed. There's no need because there'll be no state. And each zone can have its areas demarcated into commissioners area, then districts, districts into tehsils and villages as at present. And the powers given to the legislators today for law and order, health, and day-to-day affairs should be handed over to the panchayats. Now, panchayats are a small unit. There can be direct participation of the people, and that's a real democracy. That's a real democracy. And those panchayats are overseen by the commissioners, and there's a cross-check. And another thing, no commissioner or a deputy commissioner or a bureaucrat should be in his place for more than 3 years. The British system was very clear and very proper. And even when the India got independence, this thing was that IAS officers could not opt for their home states. Later on, it was changed 30% could opt for home states, then 50% could opt. So practically anybody can opt for the home state. And that is the root cause of corruption. If a person from south goes and works in the north, he has no affiliation. And in 3 years, he is able to develop an influence and then he's shifted back, say, to the west. Absolutely different cultural environment. So the corruption would be removed at its root. And then how much money we are spending on the state legislature. Has anybody thought of that? And the same money would be saved at 29 states. So you're demolishing or saving each state's money on salaries, pensions, perks, traveling, and so on. So strengthen the basic structure. The constitution should be such that the basic structure is in the village and they're fully autonomous as far as the law and order is concerned, as far as the amenities are concerned, and give them the money. The government will still be saving it. And the government of India's job should be fourfold. That's it. Foreign affairs, diplomacy, infrastructure, economic development, and international trade. Education, health, they should be left to the villages. Why not? There can be no better judge than the people themselves. Strengthen the people, the grassroots. So imagine it, Britain has no constitution at all, in written constitution. It's all traditions and the laws of the parliament. And it's working fine. History tells us that the best well-written constitutions are a curse. Weimar Constitution was a great constitution. If some constitution is to be accorded the level of being the Bible of political science, it should be the Weimar Constitution of Germany. And that constitution paved the way. Sorry. Yes, I was talking of the Weimar Constitution. The Weimar Constitution paved the way for coming in of Hitler. Hitler used the constitution, and that's why they call it the legitimate Nazis. So constitutions, right? I mean, say we have the habit of saying it's sacrosanct. It's a scrap of paper. Reality is that, and we delude ourselves by saying it is something constitutional, and the people say, well, it's constitutionally right. A constitution has to be a living document if it's written. It has to be an organic document. It has to grow, evolve with the times. And a written constitution by nature would be rigid, would be inflexible. Look, suppose tomorrow, and in fact, our parliamentary democracy is nothing but a presidential form in disguise. The Prime Minister of India has more powers than anybody else, but the head of the state is the president. Why this anomaly? Why not have only the presidential form of government? Well, that's a matter of detail. So, presidential form of government, two houses elected directly and indirectly, then five zones divided into districts for the administrative purposes. But the main strength of the country should be in the villages. Now, if that is there, each village would be self sufficient. And people in this age of internet and growing mobility and the innate sense of the people, the problems would not be there. Another point which has to be seen in taken into consideration is the governmental effort in saying that these things should be, for example, the language. Now, the villages looking after the education, they will think, well, whether the medium should be the mother tongue, the national tongue, or English, or a combination of the three. And you would find those people when they are there, because the panches and the sarpanches, those leaders, would be interacting with those other people on a daily basis, not only on a daily, but almost on an hourly basis. So that interaction would strengthen. Now you would be saying, what about the industrial policy and pollution? Yes. The parameters have to be laid on by the parliament. Two houses, the president. And those parameters have to be communicated to the villages that, okay, you have got full right to set up any industry, for example. Permit the industries to come to your area or not, that's up to you. And when I say villages, the towns would also be smaller, not the metropolises, but megapolises. For example, Delhi was the town, one city. It's divided into five corporations now. So that sort of slicing can be done so that each unit is basically self-contained zone. But they have got to adhere to the laws laid down by the parliament, and the bureaucrats are to be the watchdogs. They are to be guides, philosophers, and watchdogs, but not the bosses. So let's be clear. In India, civil service, unfortunately, is neither service nor civil. They have got to be taught that they are supposed to serve people, advise them, give suggestions to them, and see that the laws are implemented. Then the police. Why should it not be community police? So whole structure has to be changed, make it living, make it worthwhile for the people. Another thing that's important is that the constitution should remove the word secular and socialist. Socialism is a curse. Let people be capitalist minded entrepreneurs. And secular, that's it. Why say you are secular? Don't do it. You say you are secular and you start tendering for your vote bank to the different parties. Is that being secular? No, it's not. As a matter, it's a matter of attitude. Leave it to the people. And when you leave it to the people, would find that they are really secular. Do the people fight of their own accord? They don't. They fight when they are egged on by the politicians and egged on for their own purpose. This constitution is, as I said earlier, a moral ridden document that has no validity in the modern time. It needs to be rewritten and not this tomb of huge work, 40 to 50 pages giving the basic outlines so that the future parliaments are not hidebound to change. Don't forget, change is a law of nature, and only those societies progress which can change. No institution would be sacrosanct. All institutions have only one sanctity, and that is to serve the people. And when they can't serve it, destroy those institutions. That way lies some hope of salvation for this country to be Vishab Guru. Why not? So let's start the process. But would India dare do it? That is a $1 million question. Think about it. Thank you.